You're listening to Film Seizure. Before we get started, just a word of caution. This is a pretty R-rated show, so if you're listening at work or school or around your kids or grandparents, or hell, church for that matter, you might want to put some headphones on. Catch new episodes every other Wednesday on filmseizure.com and follow us on Facebook at Film Seizure and Twitter and Instagram at Film Seizure, all one word. But for now, if you're all set, then let's sit back and enjoy a couple of grade A assholes sit around and talk about movies.
On almost any corner of almost every town, on every lonely highway you'll ever travel down, you're gonna find a burger shop, Americana, mom and pop. How long? There ain't no telling. Living out there selling hamburgers for America. Yeah, hamburgers for America. It's in their blood, it's their tradition. It's almost like they're on a mission, selling hamburgers for America.
All right, well, welcome to another new episode of Film Seizure. I am Geoff Arbuckle.
I am Jason Oliver.
And we watched Hamburger the Motion Picture.
Hamburger, the motion picture.
They made a movie about hamburgers.
Yes.
And it was glorious.
Yes.
I think we have a little bit of a PSA.
Yes, there's a PSA here. According to Buster Burger University Honor Code, there are a few things that are forbidden.
I think we should keep that in mind for not only us as we do our show, but also for the listeners to keep in mind.
So these things are forbidden according to Buster Burger Honor Code.
Before we commence with orientation, let's reconsider the Buster Burger University Code of Conduct. 1. Students are forbidden to leave campus until commencement.
This is nothing more than a slap-down prison.
Number 2, alcohol, tobacco, drugs, beads, and outside foods are strictly forbidden. And 3rd, since sex and success make lousy bed partners, so do your classmates. Therefore, no sex allowed. No hanky-panky in the door.
Of course, no sex.
No sex out there. No sex.
These are all violations that can get you expelled from Buster Burger U.
Yeah, and
or at the very least, get you stuck in a pickle.
A literal
pickle.
This movie, oh boy, is this movie intricate.
It's something.
It is. I mean, it is. Whoever came up with these jokes, or whoever sat around with everybody else and like thought about what they wanted their comedy to be, I applaud them 100%. Now, I hadn't seen this movie in about 30 years, probably since about 1987. I know I rented it a few times. It was one of those sleepover type of movies.
Yep, most definitely. This is one I had seen as well when I was, I would probably guess 4th or 5th grade, which was totally inappropriate for the age that I was in.
Yeah, well,
considering some of the movie, but yeah, I saw this at a sleepover also.
Yeah, and it was just one of those things where it's like, I knew who Dick Butkus was.
Yeah.
The cover of the box is fucking zany with, actually I've got it right here in my hand. It's got a burger with a pair of glasses
with the
graduation cap on it, and some ladies.
Yeah, and I always remember Dick Butkus kind of hanging from the motion picture.
Yep.
Illustration.
He's like
of
flying
Dick
in,
Butkus.
like giving his
pointy finger.
His pointy finger saying what you can or can't do. It's zany, and this is one of those. I mean, this is one of those things where it's like in the 80s, this is what comedies look like. They were these beautifully drawn covers with just zaniness, just absolute
original music. I mean, there's so many little like 80s comedies that I love that this reminded me and Geoff of as we watched it. I mean, the obvious comparison is Police Academy, but like little things like Better Off Dead with some of the original musical numbers in that movie, really definitely I was feeling like lots of vibes from that. It is truly another product of its time, and we were lamenting as we watched it and enjoyed so much. We're lamenting the fact that they just don't make comedies like this anymore.
No, I mean, this is the last comedy that I think I actually wanted to actually go to a movie theater, buy a ticket, and watch. What was the Farrelly Brothers movie that Matt Damon and Greg Kinnear were the conjoined twins?
Oh yeah, I can't remember.
That was the last one.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there was something about like the Farrelly Brothers
They
movies.
definitely have that vibe, that 80s sort of vibe.
And they had heart to them. They were charming.
Right,
movies.
a little bit of charm, a little bit of raunch. Yeah, absolutely. Like I always think of Shallow Hal is the perfect example of that.
Exactly.
Like the movie was so ridiculous. It was a movie that at its about large people, obese people, and it's kind of a sensitive subject. But it definitely was one big fat joke. The movie was, but at the center of it, it had this amazing heart. And I don't think
it was all about loving the person on the inside, not the person on the outside.
And I don't think that necessarily Hamburger the Motion Picture had the heart of that that kind of heart.
But there's a charm.
But there's a charm to it.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And so, actually, I'm just going to read the back of the box here.
Okay.
This will give us everything that we need to know, because this is a movie that is a series of jokes. There's not really exactly a plot. There are things that happen.
Yeah.
The three acts are exactly timed to be one half hour each.
Yeah.
And there are things that get you from one act to the next, but really, there's a setup and then there's jokes.
Well, there's two kind of things I think to keep in mind going into this. It was meant as sort of a parody of McDonald's University. I don't think that's a thing anymore, but that used to be an actual school you could go to learn how to be a McDonald's franchise owner. And they would teach you everything you needed to know to start up a McDonald's franchise. So this movie was sort of born out of that idea to make a parody of that, which is in and of itself, it's a pretty funny concept. And they used very, very, very clearly, they used the Police Academy sort of template to make this movie. You have this mismatch of people who show up at this place to learn. They get to know each other. They're all a little bit of a character. Then they have the middle section of the movie where they study and they learn their stuff, and there's conflict.
And they do their palling around.
Yeah,
too,
there's conflict, and they might get kicked out, and they might not. But it ends up they have to take a test and they pass. But then it's the real life test, which is the third act.
Yes.
You're right. So in Police Academy, they had to go out into the field, right? And in Hamburger the Motion Picture, they had to run their own franchise
for a
day.
Yeah.
Right. So it's that formula, and it works really, really well.
Yeah, especially when you have jokes that are set up the way they are in this movie. And I had mentioned that I felt the movie was intricate, and it really is. There are things about this movie that are so perfectly set up, and they are things that aren't. A lot of the jokes are not in your face.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's jokes about getting with the dean's wife, or getting with the girl, or being hit on by one of the girls. Those jokes exist, and those are very in your face. But the funniest jokes, until you get to the Fabulous 400, a lot of the jokes are in the background, and they are props, or they are signs on buildings that you actually have to look for.
There's detail to this movie, which
is a built world.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, a great example of that is the Gherkin Center for Pickles.
Oh yeah, the Emanuel
Gherkin Center for Pickle Research. I mean, that's just on the building.
The people are walking by, and if you're not looking at the building, you're never going to see that joke.
There's another sign in one of the classrooms. This onionology.
Onionology, yeah.
And it's just a sign in the background.
It's such a sign, but then you get the second punch of that joke. If you notice the sign, is they're all in this class and they're all cutting onions and they're all bawling their eyes out, right? Which is totally like stupid humor, but it's funny and there's layers to There's layers to that joke.
Yeah, peeling the onion, peeling back the onion. So I'm going to read the back of this box because this is what the movie was sold on in video stores. And the funny thing is that it talks exclusively about our lead character, who is no larger of a character than anybody else in this movie. Not. So,
in fact, he to some degree, before Geoff said, he almost plays sort of your straight character.
Yeah,
right. He's not really the source of the comedy.
No, he really isn't. Everything's kind of happening to him.
Yeah.
So Russell Prokop has a beef. Every university he attends kicks him out on his buns.
Oh my!
For getting too friendly with the congenial co-eds. And if he doesn't cook up a college diploma soon, he'll be cut off from the juicy, meaty trust fund promised by his family.
Oh man!
Russell's only hope is to cut the bull. And there's no better place for him to cut it than at Buster Burger University, where they serve up an unappetizing education on how to manage a Buster Burger franchise. All Russell has to do to graduate and earn the diploma he hungers for is to keep out of trouble and keep off the girls. But for this footloose would-be grill king, that's no short order. So all of this is literally the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets.
It's a setup.
Right. He gets in trouble for having sex with a girl in a dorm shower.
Yeah.
He then goes to see the, I guess the student counselor,
psychologist, counselor.
And she's hot.
Yeah,
and she's British.
Yeah, and she makes this whole big deal out of the fact that he thinks he's man's gift to women, God's gift to women. And that women can't resist him, and he's like, "No, that's not the case at all. I can't help it.
I just talk."
Yeah, and women want to have sex with me, and I.
One thing he says is, I ask a girl out to a movie, and the next thing, before we even leave, we're in bed together. I haven't seen a movie since E.T.
Yeah.
So she like gets hot for him at that point, and like it's like. Starts to come on to him. It's like, well, let's see how well you work, basically. And they get caught by the dean, so he gets kicked out of that college. And supposedly he's been kicked out of 5 colleges in 4 years.
Yeah.
And so he comes home, and his parents are just fucking pissed at him. His dad is so unhinged, and it's like strangling him.
Like Homer Simpson strangling Bart Simpson.
Yes.
It's what it looks like.
And he's yelling, and like veins are popping out of his forehead. It's great. And so basically they see a commercial that talks about the Burger University, and he goes to a Buster Burger to check it out. Check it out. And the girl at the counter hits on him there, and he's like, "No, I'm not here for sex. I just want food."
Right.
Which kind of hurts her feelings. Which,
But it's sort of this silly concept that he is.
Just magnet.
Women are irresistible to his charms. Like they and he doesn't even have to put on charms. They just want to have sex with him without naturally. Yeah.
And I guess he's a good looking guy.
It's kind of like a male fantasy thing.
And he's a charming character, really. Yeah. I mean, he legitimately, like, he goes to school and he legitimately tries.
Yeah.
And he stays away from the women for the most part. And it's
he does.
I mean, he ends up with a girl
the whole time he's at Hamburger or Buster Burger University.
Right. And so, I mean, he does get the girl at the end.
He gets the girl.
But it's much more realistic. Yeah. And it's so funny because everybody around him is a cartoon character at that point. He starts off as a cartoon character and becomes a real boy at the end.
Right, yeah.
So it's fucking brilliant. But so like now he goes and the manager of the local Buster Burger is like, yeah, everything's all expenses paid. It's out in Colorado, and you just go to this university. And so one of the things is that you get the impression that I don't know where he's from. He's not from Colorado because they say it's out in Colorado.
Right.
But there's one. I mean, I will talk endlessly about how intricate this movie is it is so intricate that they don't even fuck up with license plates.
Yeah.
Every single license plate that you can see is the green Colorado mountainscape that the 80s license plates had. And I know that. I know those are Colorado because I used to collect the little tiny license plates from the Honeycombs boxes.
Oh, yeah. Ha.
Yeah, and so I had all 50 of them at one point. But anyway, I mean, I know my license plates.
You're proud of that.
I am.
Yeah.
Give me a fucking degree at Burger University. I'm smart.
Yeah. So the whole kind of setup is there. He goes and he arrives at Buster Burger University,
and that is literally, I mean, outside the 2.5 minute theme song,
right? Which is something that we should really talk about because Geoff made a really great comment while we were watching it, that if the intricacy of the movie and especially of the songs felt very much like something that Weird Al Yankovic would put together.
Yeah.
Because it's like everything is parody, and every song, there's actually original songs written for this movie, 3 of them specifically. There's an opening theme song, which is Burgers for America.
Burgers for America. There's a
Buster Burger theme song.
Yeah.
And then there's a Burger Hallelujah. Which
Burger
is
Buster Luya
Buster
or something.
Burger, Buster Burger Luya or something like that. Yeah, which is to the theme of the Battle Hymn of the Republic, and they changed all the lyrics to that to make it burger like. And it's actually in a scene in a church where everyone attends, like an actual church ceremony, but it's all around the burger. And the founder of Buster Burger preaches like gospel, like scripture from a burger Bible.
Yeah.
all like scripture, like oh my God, what was one of the things he said? It was to burgers and fries we dedicate our lives is like one of the things he's saying. Like the very flourished language about like making burgers. It's just amazing.
It's amazing. I mean, there and like they go through all of their different classes, it's a 12-week school.
Yeah.
And so they have classes for like the science of hamburgers, like the founder's daughter, who's the kind of the apple of our main guy's eye, which is Russell, right? Yeah, Russell. His, like the girl he's into. She teaches a class about like where each of the pieces of the different things on the menu comes from on the burger.
Yeah.
And like if you actually look, like they have like this big diagram of a cow, and it's like they have a thing called a cud burger that comes from like its throat.
Yeah.
And they have
a
ball buster, which comes from its ass.
Yeah.
And
it's all on there, but it's never said. It's like if you're paying attention to the detail, you can get all of these different jokes that are
and you're
sort of
laughing
there
at that
discover.
over the mundane,
right?
And so if you look for the jokes, you are paying more attention to the intricacy of the movie,
right,
than you are the mundane bullshit that they're talking about up front, and it's brilliant. So we get to meet all of our different pieces.
Our rogues gallery of cartoon characters. Basically.
So you have Russell, who is the straight man at this point.
Right, definitely straight man, but he's also kind of, you think he's your Steve Guttenberg. Right?
You think, but he has a roommate,
right,
who is all about beaver hunting.
Yeah, he's all about breaking the rules. Like he already knew what the rules were in advance, and had taped everything to his body. He had condoms, little alcohol bottles, ding dongs and Twinkies.
Yeah, all that stuff that
porn
were not
mags,
allowed.
all the stuff that wasn't allowed. He had it like all taped to his body under his clothes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
but pretty funny.
And he catches the eye of the founder's wife, who's this kind of trophy wife, blonde, buxom.
Yeah, a bit of a fake tits, blonde airhead bimbo. Yeah.
And then you have this fat guy who he's trying to lose weight, but in order for him not to go on like binges, of food, he attaches a little thing to his finger and shocks the shit out of
Yeah,
himself
like-
until he no longer feels the urge to
And
eat.
it does not just as a little shock. Like they
It
play
is
this,
like-
they play these scenes to the absurd.
Yeah, he's like getting fried.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so there's a couple of times where that comes up where it's just great.
It's a madcap comedy, yeah.
and it actually pays off for the heroes at the end as well.
Yep.
Then you have a stereotype Central American freedom fighter.
Yep.
Who she is in. So she's from Guacamole.
Yeah, Guacamole.
Yep.
Her name
And
is
she's-
Conchita Margarita something
It's like-
something
it's
something
like
something
8
something.
names long.
Yeah.
And she is like this tough, like army chick, and she's trying to figure out. She says she's there to learn how to feed the starving people of Guacamole
Right.
as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and also she came to America to find a real man.
Yeah, that becomes an important thing later because she goes tits out,
Yeah.
which is great. But anyway, then you have a nun, a
Yes.
straight up nun.
Yep.
Who ends up, she's in the normal black and white habit at the beginning, and then she when she starts taking classes, everybody has to wear like the red
Buster Burger red uniform, yeah.
and so she gets a red and white habit at that point, which is just brilliant. And then there's a nerd guy,
Yeah.
who has speech impediment, big nerd glasses, suspenders, the whole deal.
Yeah, he's kind of like a weird, I don't know, like a Revenge of the Nerds nerd.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's kind of that stereotypical '80s nerd looking guy.
Yeah. And then, trying to think if I'm missing. Okay, so then arrives one of our favorite characters.
This guy is the best.
So the cops come rampaging in like a paddy wagon and dump off a pop star who is kind of like a cross between like Prince and Terrence Trent D'Arby.
Yeah, maybe a little Rick James.
Little Rick James
Yeah.
because of the curly hair.
Yeah, the Jerry curls.
The Jerry curls, yeah. And his name is...
Magneto Jones.
Magneto Jones.
Yeah.
And Magneto Jones was just arrested by some white cops and
Yeah.
dumped off.
Yeah, this makes no freaking sense. It's really really weird. He was arrested. He was dumped at Buster Burger U, and the whole movie
Basically, that's his prison sentence.
Yeah.
Is to go to the school
because
and get a job.
because there's apparently been some complaints that Buster Burger University hasn't graduated any black franchise managers.
Yeah,
So he has to graduate.
He has to fill the
fill the
quota.
quota basically. Otherwise, because they don't want to be accused of being a bigoted establishment, which is actually said by Dick Butkus, and
Which is great.
It is insanity.
Yeah.
And he is in handcuffs the entire movie.
Yeah, Magneto Jones does not lose his handcuffs until graduation.
Until graduation day. Until graduation
So,
day.
and that's just one of those little things
Yeah.
that you don't. I mean, like, he may have been seen once or twice in between when we first saw him, and then when I pointed out to you, he's still in handcuffs.
Yeah, he has one of the funniest scenes when there's this really goofy scene where the roommate of Russell, the actual Steven Guttenberg, the sort of horn dog who likes the founder's wife, they hook up in the helicopter.
Yeah, so they
go
a
to
couple of times. Let's set this up actually,
Okay,
because
all right.
there's a couple of times where they hook up.
Yes.
So the first time that our horn dog roommate meets up with the founder's wife is so he wants to get out of campus and go out on the town and everything. And Russell's kind of like, man, I just want to. I need to get my inheritance, and I can't be fucking around here.
Right,
And so-
right. He doesn't want to get kicked out of another school.
Right, and so his
this is
buddy-
literally this is his last chance.
Yeah, and so his buddy was like, nah, it'll be fine. I'll sneak us out. And they do this elaborate trick where they hide on top of what appears to be like a laundry truck or something.
Yeah.
That oddly enough gets stopped because Magneto Jones is inside trying to sneak
escape
out.
too.
And so they you don't find out that they were on top of the truck until you realize that Magneto Jones was inside the truck.
Yeah.
Well, the whole reason why they wanted to go out, and this is such a mid-'80s thing, they wanted to go out because they wanted to go eat Chinese food.
Chinese food, yeah.
Which we had Chinese food today.
We did.
We bought Chinese food online.
Yep.
And picked it up. And in the 80s, they had to escape bondage to go get Chinese food. It was such a special thing back then. But so they go there and they see that the founder's wife, who Horndog's into, and cute founder's daughter, who our main character's into, are eating together there. And so they're like, "Oh, come join us." And the horn dog had already kind of made an impression with the founder's wife at kind of the soiree that they had at a dinner club, which we'll talk about in a moment after we get to the Magneto Jones stuff, because our binge eater has a wonderful scene in that.
Yes, he does.
So then also at that soiree, our main character Russell and the founder's daughter, they had kind of hit it off there too. Well, so when they get there, they order a bunch of food and they're having a good time. Well, Dick Butkus, who is the founder's daughter's boyfriend
kind of,
it shows up. So
also, it's really important. His title at the university is Grill Sergeant.
Grill Sergeant.
Yes, Grill Sergeant. He is.
Oh my god, that's great.
Yes, Grill Sergeant.
Grill Sergeant.
And that's exactly what he is too. I mean, imagine Arlie Ermy from Full Metal Jacket. I mean, that is the character he's playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he shows up, and so they have to hide under the table, which, when they're hiding under the table, the horn dog friend looks up the Mrs. Vunk.
Yes,
Vunk is the name of the founder. Mrs. Vunk's dress, looks over at his friends like, the missus isn't wearing panties, and muff dives.
Just goes right in.
Just goes right in, just muff diving champion right there. And he just goes in, and she is like hot for it, and she is like sweating profusely,
like orgasming while eating like ribs at the table.
and like, Dick Butkus is like, "What's going on here? What's up? You all right?" And eventually they get found out, and so they get thrown into the pickle jail.
One real quick aside here, because that scene is seared into my brain from when I saw this movie the first time, and I'm pretty sure I saw this at my friend Ricky's house on a sleepover, and we watched it in his living room. I believe one of the other movies we watched that night was Aliens. That's the first time I ever saw Aliens. Yeah, but we watched Hamburger the movie, and that scene where he's like, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand what was going on. It wasn't really until I kind of thought about it more and I learned more about sex that I really understood what was happening. But I do remember this. I remember this is like unbelievable parenting. But my friend Ricky's dad came into the room and I got really embarrassed because I knew I probably shouldn't be watching this. I mean, there had already been several scenes with tits, right?
At least one.
Yeah.
At least one.
And I was like, man, I know this is not. If my parents knew I was watching this, I would be in so much trouble. But so Ricky's dad comes in and he looks at the screen and we're watching. And it's the scene with the horn dog eating out the Mrs. Funk's pussy, basically. And that's what he says. He says, "Oh, what is he down there, like eating out her pussy?" And I didn't quite understand what that meant either. But you
grew up a little bit.
Yeah, but I grew up a little bit that day. And it's a funny thing that you remember about a stupid little moment in time, right? But I've never forgotten that scene. That's probably the scene that I remember the most about this movie.
Well, which is funny because we had a moment while watching this, because in the previous episode where we were talking about Raw Force, I had said something about eating out.
Yeah.
And the horn dog, and with it, which realizes that if my life had gone slightly differently and I had gone to Hamburger University when I was 20-something, early 20s, I would have been the horn dog.
Horn dog, yeah.
Because he turns to Russell and is like, "I love eating out." We just lost it. And so, and he also says, "Oh, I'm going to try a little from column B."
Yeah,
which was
the daughter. And
he's
that
like,
was
no.
He's like, no.
So they end up getting found out. They get in trouble. They get put into a pickle. We'll talk about the pickle justice in a little bit.
Pickle justice is weird, but yes,
it is really weird. But so this now leads us to later, like a couple of days later. Also, this movie could have taken place over the course of 3 hours, or 3 weeks, or 3 years.
But it was supposed to be 12 weeks.
It was supposed to be 12 weeks.
Yeah.
But so at a later time, they go to Burger Church.
Yes.
It's so great to say Burger Church. I wish there was a Burger Church. But they go to Burger Church, and they, and then they're kind of flirting with the two girls from the Mrs. Vunk and Mia, who's the daughter. Mia Vunk. That's hard to say.
Yeah.
So Mrs. Vunk tells Horndog friend, meet me behind whatever in 2 hours, basically. And so the Horndog's like, yeah. And they sneak off to a helicopter because Mr. Vunk
would never
goes into the helicopter and wouldn't do anything. Or the Horndog says, I can't imagine Mr. Vunk doing anything. And to which Mrs. Vunk says, well, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
So they get in, and they're going to fuck in the helicopter, which
sure, why not?
Why not?
That would be really difficult.
But why not?
And as you see, as the scene unfolds, it is very difficult because, of course,
they turn on
all the shit, and the helicopter flies away. But before that happens. And it's so funny.
From the distance, you see come running.
Yeah, Magneto Jones. Like running, and he's trying to escape. He's seen the helicopter, and he's like, I'm going to get in the helicopter. I'm going to get the fuck out of here. So he gets in the back of the helicopter, and then he realizes that Mrs. Funk and the Horndog are in there. And he's like, what's going on? And then they're like, freak out. Like, what are you doing here? But they have, in the meantime, flipped all the switches, and now they're starting to go up into the air.
Yeah.
And this helicopter is swaying all around, like they're screaming, and Magneto Jones throughout this whole scene is in the back, and he's praying to the Lord.
Yeah,
and he keeps saying, if you don't hit that tree, I'll give you 10% of my earnings for the rest of my life, and then if you don't hit that building, I'll give you 45% of my earnings for the rest of my life. He's getting increasingly more and more agitated, and it's so funny. He's just hysterical in this scene, and at one point he's like, you're the Lord, you deserve it.
Yeah. Every time I pass the church, I'll just drop off some
money. It's like, I don't know how I'm going to get you the money, Lord, but anytime I pass by a church, I'll just drop off some money.
And it's little stuff like that's just happening in the background while the three of them are freaking out.
Yeah.
It's just so great. But so let's talk about pickle justice.
Okay, pickle justice.
Because so after being caught going down on Mrs. Vunk and hiding under the table and being off campus, really is the real charge here.
And the only reason they're not expelled is because Mrs. Vunk insisted, and she's got pull, and
right,
yeah.
And so Russell and his buddy, which I'm trying to look up what his.
Horndog's fine.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna go with Horndog. He's like, all right, well, we're gonna, the only way to basically punish you is we're gonna put you in these. They look like pickle sarcophaguses.
Yeah, they're pickles that are stood up, end to end, like a. I don't know I guess if you imagine just a pickle statue, sort of be.
It's kind of like
a pickle coffin.
I think it's meant to be kind of like a they used to, if I'm not mistaken, army bases or army military schools that you would ship bad kids off to. Used to, once upon a time, before people really decided this wasn't a good idea. I think they used to have like little
had like
bunkers.
sweat boxes.
Yeah, sweat boxes.
Yeah.
And that's what this is.
This was kind of like a
essentially.
sweatbox, but it was a pickle.
But it was shaped like a pickle, and pickles are a big thing in the world of Buster Burger because that's their drive-through box that you talk through.
Yeah, Mr. Pickle or something like that. Yeah,
whatever. Yeah, and so they get put in there and they get dumped torture sauce.
Torture sauce.
It's
Yeah,
called torture sauce, which is like this green, thick, gross stuff, and he blasts the
Buster Burger theme,
the Buster Burger theme song,
like their jingle.
Yeah. And so you never really see much like how long they were in it. It was just a scene. It was just a funny little thing. It's like, we're going to stick you in the pickle. And of course it's out on the campus so everybody can see it. But but I always remember the pickle encasings because it's so goofy. I mean, it's just so.
And somebody had to make those. You know,
Yes!
I mean, those are props that somebody had to make.
Every single prop that was in this movie.
I mean, they're the beds when they go into their dorm room are burgers.
Yeah,
like they are layered, stacked burgers for cushions.
Yes,
and they
everything in the room is some sort of restaurant thing.
Yeah.
It's so
this is somebody had to make 2 burger beds for this movie. It's hysterical.
It's the magic of movie making.
It's hysterical.
It's the magic of movies. But so so over time, and honestly, it's like it's the setup, getting to the getting to the university, understanding that. That the grill sergeant, the Dick Butkus, is a problematic character.
Yeah, he's working against them because he knows that Vunk's daughter likes Mia. Mia likes Russell, and Russell likes Mia, and he wants to marry Mia because he likes Mia, but he also wants to rise in this company.
Yeah, and so I mean, so you get a lot of that, and there's a scene where
that's basically where your conflict comes from.
Yeah,
all the conflict is coming from Dick Butkus.
Exactly, and there is even one scene where he tries to embarrass Russell by this thing is
the
this
contraption, the conveyor belt scene that makes the burgers. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so ridiculous because you never see it in the story, but it's basically it's a nuclear powered conveyor belt hamburger making machine that sends meat through, zaps it with the radiation to cook it, and it then drops on a bottom bun, and then you put the lettuce and the tomato on it, and on the other side the top bun comes and it gets all the stuff squirted on.
It all dumps into one station where you're supposed to assemble it all real quickly.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It is mind-boggling, but hilarious also that there would be even such a contraption.
And then again, another contraption that had to be built.
Yeah, exactly.
For this movie,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so, like one of the things that Dick Butkus does is he turns it up too fast and makes Russell fuck up and basically embarrasses him. Well, but really, Russell ends up becoming like the star student. Like he knows his shit. Yeah. Like he actually works hard and does. I mean, like he is legitimately our hero. He's not like Steve Guttenberg where he's kind of a. It's like, dude, get your head out of your fucking penis. You know?
Right. Like Steve Guttenberg is in the Police Academy movies kind of the foil and a lot. Like he's the detriment.
Right.
To his classmates.
And he's everybody's X factor.
Right.
Really.
But in this, Russell is very much like he's just trying to graduate. He knows this is his last chance, and he actually there's a lot of comedic moments that are built around him and in that sort of role, but he's legitimately, not really the source of any real conflict.
Right. And so, and it's just, I mean, but everybody actually tries hard. Like, nobody is there goofing off. Yeah. Like, even Magneto Jones, excels as a...
He does.
And there are things that they, like, there's one class that Vunk, like, the founder himself teaches, where it's basically different things you're supposed to say to customers. Yes. And one of them is like, It's like, we reserve the right to not serve assholes like you.
Yeah.
Like, that's like legitimately what you're supposed to say to the customer.
Another one has got a great
Oh my
payoff
God.
later in the movie is put those cookies back, motherfucker.
Yeah, and the way that Vunk says it, like the way he teaches the lines, and the put those cookies back, motherfucker. I used to say that so much when I was like 10 years old.
I should also mention too, when we were talking about the church was called the Chapel of the Immaculate Restroom.
Yeah, I mean,
just something that's on there, the sign, right? That it's just a readable joke. It's just everything is like that in this movie.
And so now one of the main reason, the escalation of the issue between the grill sergeant and Russell happens at the soiree, where basically, Russell, he agrees to show up, but he doesn't really want to stick around because he doesn't want to end up triggering any chicks to fuck him, basically.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant. I mean, that's great. I wish I had that power.
I know, right? It's like it
would be great.
Yeah, except it became his curse.
I guess, but
they are like throwing themselves at him at this party.
Yes!
It is hysterical. Like the Conchita Margarita, she throws himself at her.
Yeah.
He then, to avoid her, tries to dance with another woman who he realizes is the daughter.
Yes, and so they go
Mr.
off.
Vunk.
Yeah, and so they go off and talk, and it's she's charmed by him. She's not like ripping off her clothes or anything,
Right.
but she's charmed by him.
Right.
And so there's a big table spread of a bunch of food, and our overeater comes up to it, and he wants to eat one of the hamburgers so much. Like, he even picks it up and is like screaming at it.
Yeah,
it's
he
like,
has this internal struggle where he's talking
which is
to
also
himself. He's
external.
like, eat it, no, don't eat it, eat it, no, don't eat it.
Yeah.
He's screaming at himself.
So he puts his little shocker on his pinky, and he starts to shock himself. Except for he doesn't stop.
Oh, man.
And he is now like.
It's Chris Farley down by the river, in a van down by the river. I mean,
really
it's
kind
that
of is
skit almost.
But what's funny is that he is like the there are a lot of classic comedy scenes where you have like, you introduce one little thing to a scene and it just travels through the scene, but it causes havoc all around it.
Yep.
And sometimes it's a character, sometimes it's an actual physical item that fucks up everything. I mean, the whole opening credits of Superman 3 is this exact joke.
Yes.
Except for this joke is better.
Yes.
So he is now, so you see him in the background, like just walking around almost like Frankenstein,
Yeah.
but like also
twitching and being shocked and, and spinning around.
And he's like running into things and stuff. Well, so you see that happening in the background, and you think, oh, that's just kind of funny that's happening. Well, the grill sergeant comes up to Russell and is like, hey, pipsqueak or whatever.
Yeah,
it
to
is,
knock
get
him out of the way
fuck
because he doesn't want him talking to his gal.
But then here comes the fat dude who's like, oh, and he knocks
He knocks Dick Butkus
into the pool, which then starts a pool party.
This total chain reaction of other people get knocked in the pool or jump in to save other people in the pool, and then somebody yells, pool party,
Yeah,
and everyone
and so
starts jumping in the pool. It's the most 80s thing ever.
Yeah, it is, but it's fucking hilarious.
It's really funny.
And then meanwhile, like, even after he knocked Dick Butkus in, you see him like kind of still traveling around in the background, like
yeah, because of all the people, he didn't end up in the pool. He's still shocked.
He did.
Did he end up in the pool?
Yeah,
again?
he did eventually.
Right.
But it was many moments later.
Oh man.
So they end up graduating.
Yes.
And then there's the one last thing.
Yes.
And that is to run the franchise for a day. So they get taken to a training franchise where they're basically going to serve people, real life
customers,
real life hamburgers. And of course, in order to try to ruin Russell, he gives Russell basically the command.
Yeah.
He's like, "You're going to be the manager.
Yeah,
Everybody
Dick
has to
Buckus
react."
does.
Yes. And so
The grill master, or the grill sergeant.
the grill sergeant, yeah. So they go in, and everything seems to be starting off pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like they have a good crowd. Everybody's getting exactly what they want. Everything's running smooth as shit. And Magneto Jones back there working that grill.
Yeah, he's
man.
working the grill with his handcuffs still on.
Yes, but he is cranking out everything. Everything's great. Then,
Well, before all of that, there's the great. They're using all the lines that they've been taught. There's a little girl. Yeah. She's at the front counter,
and she's trying to sneak up and like grab a box of cookies, and she like starts to pull it towards her, and everybody stops, turns at the little girl and says, "Put those cookies back, motherfucker!" And the girl just has this look on her face, like, oh, and oh my god, that is one of the things that I remember so well.
But then, yes, everything kind of starts to go to hell because Dick Buckus behind the scenes is trying to
basically throw every
possible crazy thing at them. Yeah.
So up pulls what looks like a trolley, but is a bus.
Yeah.
And this bus driver comes in and it's like, "Hey, are you the head burger guy?" Or whatever, you know. And Russell's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay, here, sign this." And Russell starts to sign. He's like, "What is this?" And he's like, "I'm not here to answer any questions. My job is just to cart him here. I'll come back in an hour and pick him up." And that's when you see on the bus the Fabulous 400. And the Fabulous 400 is an eating club.
An eating club.
And they're all fat, except for one guy who's a beanpole.
Yep.
But he eats the most.
Yeah.
So here comes in all of these fat people. And now this is, I'm old enough now to understand that this is a pretty cruel joke.
Yes.
It's fucking
but it's
funny.
Funny.
It is fun because they come in and it's like a roving biker gang, like coming in and just fucking everything up. And like people are sitting around eating their hamburgers and everything, and they just come up to the tables and start snatching their food.
Yeah, from other people. they essentially take over this whole restaurant,
right?
And they're ordering an obscene amount of food, like 50 burgers
at once,
10 milkshakes at once. I mean, it is insane.
Yeah, there's a set of twins who order 60 burgers between the two of them, like 25 order of fries, and then like 22 Diet Cokes.
Yeah.
And the fat guy, our overeater, looks at him like, "Diet?" And the next guy comes up. Yeah, the next guy comes up, orders his food, and he's like, "And then give me 3 of them regular Cokes. I'm not a pussy.
I'm not a sissy.
I'm not a sissy, yeah."
I'm no sissy.
So they start buying everything.
Yeah.
And the problem is now they've completely taken over. There's no food or no room for anybody else to come in.
So they're trying to figure out.
First one of the guys comes up. It's like, "All right, who ordered this?"
Yeah.
You know, and
Magneto
Jones in the background says,
"All right, who ordered 60 double Buster Burgers?"
That fat motherfucker right there. That fat motherfucker right there. Them 2 twin giggling motherfuckers right there. And that skinny walnut head motherfucker ordered 72.
"Well, that fat motherfucker over there, that fat motherfucker
like
over there."
that fat motherfucker ordered 50 burgers. That fat motherfucker over there ordered 50 burgers. Those two giggly motherfuckers over there. Yeah, ordered like 60 burgers, and that skinny motherfucker over there ordered 72.
Oh my god, it's so good.
It's so good. But anyway, they're like, "All right, we're gonna run out of food. What do we got to do? We got to get rid of them."
In the moment of the movie.
Oh man, this is the moment in the movie that when it happened, I remembered it from when I was 10, and I
actually got a headache.
And I remembered rewinding it over and over and over again and watching it with my friends because it made us laugh so hard, and I had forgotten it. And it happened today, and it almost broke Geoff and I.
Oh my god, we laughed so they're trying to figure out how the hell are we going to get rid of them. And so the nerd guy comes up, like pops up from the background. It's like, "Well, I've got this," and it's like industrial strength
laxative. Yes.
Industrial strength laxative. That is brilliant.
So they start making a bunch of malted milkshakes and pouring this laxative in all of them and giving them to everybody. And then, of course, they all start
farting,
And
which
started-
already gets me going at that point.
And they're giving each other the best looks.
Oh, and they're calling them different things. Like one guy
Yeah.
calls them a bun flapper or something.
So, and then they realize, this is escalating, and
I'm gonna shit
they're
myself.
not just gonna, they're gonna shit themselves. So they make
They
this-
all pile into a restaurant where there's one guy in the restaurant who's a normal guy, and it's this little Japanese tourist with his camera.
and it's one of those flashbulb
Yeah,
cameras.
and this is a joke that was made a lot, especially in the 80s.
Yes.
Of Japanese tourists coming over and taking pictures,
Taking
of,
pictures
everything,
of everything.
And
Right.
like there are so many.
This joke has been done to death.
Yeah, wasn't it also in Gremlins 2?
Yep, and it was in Gremlins 2. It was, I think it was even in the, which is a funny sort of circular joke, but I think it was even in like the 1990s Godzilla movie. Like,
Oh yeah, it was.
you know?
No, it wasn't Godzilla. It was Lost World, Jurassic Park 2.
Yes, it was Jurassic Park 2.
Because they're in the
Yep.
bus
Yep.
and they're like, oh no.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh god.
Yeah, it's terrible,
Oh
right.
god, Steven Spielberg, why did you do
But
that?
this little Japanese man is on the toilet, and all of these huge people
Just
start
piling?
piling in all into this one stall. And of course,
And he's like, oh hi, oh.
and of course he pulls up the camera
and he says smile.
and he says smile, and he clicks it, and the entire bathroom outside of the building explodes.
A smile, everybody!
The flashbulb lit the
Ignited.
flatulence in the air on fire, and it created an explosion that blew out the entire corner of this restaurant.
and they're all like stumbling out.
And-
And the Japanese guy's still taking pictures.
And it's so perfect. It's the perfect edit. It's the perfect sound editing. It's everything. It is
I would have given this.
outrageously funny.
I would have voted for this movie to win an Oscar if I was in the Academy in 1986. I would
but I
give
think
this movie a fucking Oscar.
We laughed for at least 60 seconds
We
straight
should.
without breathing.
We should have paused it because they were still they were stumbling out.
Oh my God.
The Japanese guy's still taking pictures.
But I remember rewinding this scene to the point where they would pile into the stall to hear that flash bulb and see it go off, and then the explosion. I probably watched that with my friend like 20 times in a row, and we just keep rewinding and watching it and laughing so hard, and it was just as effective today.
Oh my god! I mean, it's such a culmination of so many wonderful things. The one big fat joke
Yeah.
with the fact that they've eaten all of this gross hamburger, because like these burgers do not really look appetizing.
Right.
Every time you see a hamburger in this, except for at the very beginning during the
During
movie's
the
theme
burger
song.
making montage. Yeah.
Right. Those are a bunch of different like real
Yeah.
places serving burgers. Every Buster Burger that's shown looks gross.
Yeah, it's really gross.
And it's like sloppy and gross. And so I almost felt like I was going to get the runs just watching this movie. And so, that the little Japanese guy.
Oh, so good.
Oh my god, it's so good.
But anyway, so that happens, and
But that's not the only bad
that's
thing
not the
that
only bad
happens.
thing that happens. That's
At one point, a cop pulled up to the
Yep.
pickle message box thing
Yes.
to order food, and Dick Butkus is now controlling the drive-through.
Yeah.
And he basically calls him a bunch of
he calls
funny
him,
names.
He calls and a lot of kind of like racist names. He
did.
He
did.
It gets really
Like he's digging deep.
Yeah.
Because he's wanting those cops, or he wants the cops to fuck him over, basically.
right. So and oh boy does he.
So after the bathroom blows out, which is funny because it cuts back to the guys inside the restaurant, and they're like, okay. And they're just kind of like, all right, well, that problem's solved.
Yeah.
Even though like a whole chunk of their building is
It's
gone.
gone.
So in then rides
The bikers.
The bikers, and there's like a whole. This is the real bikers, not the roving band of fat people acting like bikers coming in and fucking everybody over. But they come in and they start. They want food,
and there's no food left.
Which they were totally cool when they came in, and when they found out there was no food left, they tore the place apart. On top of that, the cop brings back a bunch of biker cop friends of his own, and they come in and start helping the bikers smash the place up. And then they all decide to leave, and they all leave as friends. Which is a great little joke.
It brought them together. Yes, their unity over destroying this restaurant.
So they leave, and they're like, and so the next thing that comes along,
and this was right on top. I mean, right
on top, one right after the other. The next thing that comes down the street are these two little Mexican guys with a truck full of chickens. And Dick Butkus sees that and is like, "Oh, you want to play chicken, huh?" And so he turns around, basically forces them to run the truck into the building. And they show that shot like a few times, like from different angles,
crashing into the building.
And now there's a truck inside the restaurant. There are chickens everywhere. Dead, alive. All of them are. The Mexicans are in there. They're all like, "Oh my God, what are we gonna do? We destroyed this franchise." And so Russell decides to give him this pep talk, which is brilliant.
It is really great, and he's trying to tell them that we can continue on. We can make it a burger cafe.
It's
sidewalk cafe.
You see a hole in the wall. I see Buster Burger sidewalk cafe.
Meanwhile, the burger. The Glory Glory Burgerluya music starts to swell behind him, right?
And so he finishes his big speech, and everybody's like, "Yeah!" And Magneto Jones comes up and is like, "Where's that music coming from?" So the music's actually diegetic, which is, I love that too. It turns out that the music's coming from Mr. Vunk's limo, which we find out in the credits is the world's largest limo.
The world's longest car.
Yeah. So they pull up, he comes out, he sees, like the destruction. Of course, his wife and his daughter are like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do?" And he's like looking around, and it's like, well, is he about to flip out or what? Well, in the back of the building, holding one of the dead chickens is the nun girl. And she has now deep fried the chicken and starts eating.
Yes.
To which she proclaims, it's something like
by God, that's delicious, or by God, that's tasty. By God, that's tasty. Yes.
And Mr. Vunk's like, "Oh, that's it."
Yes.
And he finally has decided that he can break into the chicken market now.
Yeah.
With the slogan of "By God, that's tasty,"
and using the nun
as the spokesperson,
and calling her the frying nun.
The frying nun. This movie's brilliant.
So funny.
Oh my God, yes. And so he basically is so proud of this crew, even though they've destroyed this, and Dick Butkus comes in and tries to but they destroyed this $1 million franchise in 5 hours. But he's so proud of them. He graduates everybody basically with honors, which is the whole class. Anyway, and he's going to promote Dick Butkus to a vice president.
Welcome aboard to the board. That's what he says.
God, I love this movie. But Russell's like, "Well, we can't have this. We've promoted him now instead of gotten rid of him."
Right.
So they take the fat guy's shocker, stick it on his balls, which causes him to freak out, and he spills a strawberry shake onto Mr. Vunk, which gets him demoted into a paper picker.
Yeah, he's like the PPP, which is some
like primary
paper picker or something like that. I don't know.
So now he's basically a shit
janitor, trash picker upper.
Right, he's a shit janitor basically. And so they graduate, but we can't end this movie without another 80s trope.
Yes.
A musical number. Because Magneto Jones is a pop star.
Gotta love Magneto Jones.
God, he's great.
He's so good.
So he performs the Buster Burger theme song.
Yes.
To the graduating class. He also graduates top of the class.
Yes.
Not Russell.
Yeah, he gets the Lifetime Achievement
the
Award,
Lifetime
actually, which is
Achievement.
what? But of course it is, because they want to promote
That's
him
right.
as their black graduate. Yeah.
But either which way, he still won. He still won Burger University.
Yes, and then he performs with the Extremes.
The Extremes, which are his two backup singers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
God, this movie's great.
It's really funny. I don't know exactly where you can find this movie. Is it on YouTube?
It is on YouTube. A couple of different YouTube people have it uploaded, pretty much in its entirety.
Yeah.
One of them, the hour and 30-minute and so many seconds one is the full one. That's where we've pulled some clips for that. I got it as a bootleg.
Yeah.
At a convention. But I mean, and it's just it's probably the same transfer.
We watched a VHS transfer of this, and I think whoever did the transfer just hit play and walked out of the room because the tracking at the bottom of the screen is still kind of there. He could have hit the tracking button 2 times and it would have cleared that up.
That may have actually, yeah, maybe. I mean, sometimes I see that though, just in general. Like it's almost like what it looks like. Well, we worked at the video store together. Mm-hmm. When a dirty head crinkles the bottom of a film or of the tape, it might have just been.
It could have been that.
But anyway,
I've seen this out in the wild though on VHS for sure. You could probably pick up a VHS copy of this pretty easily. You'll probably find it, on some sort of streaming service somewhere.
If you are a connoisseur of VHS,
yeah.
Yeah,
but this is one you should see.
Yeah, it is so 80s.
Yeah,
but it is so well crafted that it is, I think, on the level of Zucker Brother craft.
Yeah, for sure.
Of how it's put together.
Absolutely.
It is not, and it's not even overly sexualized or I mean, and none of the guys come off creepy or weird.
Right.
Like Steve Guttenberg's a little weird.
Yeah, for sure.
With how much he wants to lay everything that moves.
Yeah.
But there is that character there, but there's a charm to this movie that
there's nothing really lecherous about it.
No, because even the guy, he ends up meeting Mrs. Vunk and stays with her the whole way through.
That's who he wants to be with. Yeah,
and so there is. I mean, it's not a bunch of sex bullshit, but it's so good. I mean, I wouldn't even call this a parody, even though it is parodying something.
Right.
It is just a straight comedy that exists in a world where this burger joint is the most important thing on the planet.
Yeah.
And that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that is amazing. And God, I love this movie.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's right down there with the Zucker brothers.
Abrams.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the jokes come fast and furious,
but they're well structured.
But yes, you've got kind of a few different levels of jokes, right? You've got the jokes that come at you quick with sort of punny situations. You have jokes that take time to develop.
Yeah,
and then you have
the electroshock takes time to develop.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Keep your hands off those cookies, motherfucker. It takes a little time to develop, And then you've got the jokes that are just built into the set pieces.
Yeah.
That are just, there's so much there to look at and discover. I mean, it was kind of shocking to me how rich this movie was in its writing.
The only thing
its craft.
that they even point out as part of the scenery are the beds.
Yeah.
Everything is a fast food thing.
Yeah. Well, they even make the comment too, because they're sort of like us at that point. They're the audience. They're pointing out that this is one of the weirdest places I've ever been.
They walk in and they laugh immediately at the beds.
Right.
Yeah. But it's so great. It's so great.
But yeah, find this movie. Watch this movie. It's funny. This is another good one, probably to watch with a few buddies and some beers.
Yeah, definitely. I would say
get some burgers too.
Yeah, we kind of messed up and did not get burgers. We should have gotten burgers for dinner, but oh well. I mean, maybe next time. But no, I'm so glad that I saw this on the table with the bootleg guy. Because my God, this is another one. Just like last episode with Raw Force, I want to watch this again.
Yeah.
Man. At the very least, I want to watch the fart.
I want to watch the whole third act again.
Oh my God! Just the moment they arrive at the franchise, at the training franchise, is brilliant. Now, here's a funny story. Actually, that makes me think. When I saw that, I didn't think about it. I mean, like, it wasn't like on the forefront, but in the back of my mind, it was there. So for about a year or so, I worked for Bank One.
Yeah.
And I was a teller there. They have a training facility
A training bank
on the north side where it is designed for you to act like you are taking in customer. Now, there isn't like a bank.
Okay.
But what they do is...
It's all like role playing?
It's all role playing. And they give you a list of, this is the scenarios. And then you do it in your little kit, and you turn in your kit, and then that gets graded, and then the next morning you go and you get a new kit.
Did you have a bank robbery scenario?
No.
No die packs or anything? What?
Wait, maybe we did. I don't remember. I think...
You'd think you'd remember that.
Well, there was nobody in costume.
Oh.
I mean, it was you didn't interact with anybody else.
Oh, really? You just pretended there was someone in front of you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but it kind of makes me think. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. I had a job where I went to a training facility.
Yeah.
That was designed to make you think that you're working something real. And God, I wish that everything was like Bank One. Oh my God, that would have been great. But they did have a bank front that I think that because you were there for like 3 weeks or something like that, and and they had like a bank front where like in the third week you have to go out there and act like but you still had to dress like you were like at the bank, like with shirt and tie. You know?
Sure. Yeah.
But anyway,
Deposit.
That's an inside joke, fellas. I'll tell you someday if you ask.
But anyway, yes. So I was really happy to watch this. Because
so many memories.
The memories kind of really did. They flooded back, and that was super fun to just kind of experience these jokes again.
Yeah, and
I don't know if you've ever watched something and you know that you've seen something before, but you don't remember the movie very well or whatever it might be. But as it's happening, the beats are hitting and it's flooding right back in your memory as it happens, and that it's such a fun, cool feeling, and that's what I felt when I watched this movie.
And that is a lot of the purpose of why we're doing the show.
Yeah,
really,
absolutely,
is to rediscover those things or to gain new feelings from new things. But it's so funny because like I know what I'm going to feel tomorrow when I wake up is all of my muscles in my stomach screaming in pain from the fart explosion.
From laughing so hard, I know.
The fart explosion.
I can feel my abs.
Yeah, it's
up right now.
Yeah, it's like I got a fucking 6-pack under there. But anyway, so I think we kind of did it, man.
Yeah, I agree.
We killed it.
Go watch this movie.
Absolutely.
Laugh your ass off. It's worth your time.
Yeah, most definitely.
And yeah, I mean, that's all there is really to say at this point.
Really, that is it. Now, starting with the next episode, we have 3 straight episodes of Argento movies.
Dario Argento.
We attended a triple feature at a drive-in in Shelbyville, Indiana.
Yep. Skyline Drive-In, great stuff.
Which by the time that these episodes start to be released, check your local listings because I think the Skyline might be reopening soon. Yes,
depending on when we air these. Yeah.
So I mean it's getting pretty close to spring. So yeah, I mean they should be up and going. I know Centerbrook Drive-In is opening in March, so we're getting pretty close there. So definitely check them out. And come back in a couple of weeks. In the in-between time, of course, we still have some content for you to check out on our website at filmseizure.com. We also have our Facebook page, which is Film Seizure, our Twitter and Instagram page, which is Film Seizure, all one word. And, I think that... I think the next 3 episodes we're kind of getting back into something a little bit more horror, straight horror. Definitely some giallo.
Yes.
Italian
The
slasher.
good Italian slasher horror, yeah.
And by
Dario
one of the
Argento,
masters.
the Italian Hitchcock, as he's referred to. So
Yeah, and I don't think that is. I don't think that demotes him in any way.
No.
Just because you're the Italian Hitchcock doesn't mean that. I mean, I think honestly, he's made some movies that have been, at the very least, on the same level as Hitchcock.
sure, yep.
So in 2 weeks, the first one of that is Suspiria, probably his crown jewel, and so yeah, come back and check that out.
Indeed. Thank you for listening, everyone. I'm Jason Oliver.
I am Geoff Arbuckle. This is Film Seizure. Have a good one.
America, you're getting burger hungry. Hungry for the burger that makes you full. You're chomping for the taste of a Buster Burger. Our famous Buster Burger that's full of bull. Thick, rich shakes, crispy French fries. Our double big Buster like bullets satisfies. Our people are friendly, our stores are clean too. And nothing but warm is waiting for you. America, you're getting burger hungry. Hungry for the burger that makes you full. You're chomping for the taste of a Buster Burger. Our famous Buster Burger that's full of bull. The one and only Buster Burger that's full of bull.
Put those cookies back, motherfucker.